I fundamentally agree with Jeremy about that. I agree with Jeremy about all of that. Again, Jeremy and I are at one. Owen, I thought we were moving into an area of agreement. The two big differences between us is one on Brexit. I think it's still calamitous for Britain. Birmingham's a city that was split right down the middle in that Brexit campaign. You know, Liverpool voted in, you know, London voted in. The country was incredibly divided. Now I still believe that it will be harder for us as a Labour Party to make gains for working people if we're outside the European Union. So I disagree with Jeremy about his view that now we've left effectively, or we're walking towards the exit door, we should get on with it and get out of Europe, or that there's nothing we can do to fight against it. I want us to fight a lot harder.
To be honest with you, I think Owen Smith is, I mean, he hasn't got his, if you look at his policies and if you look at what he's saying, it's, you know, yesterday for example, and then he was saying that we should get Daesh around the table. I mean, I think his policies are quite weak, and I think, you know, he doesn't have the credentials to be Labour leader.
I think the difference has been about emphasis and about the willingness to reach out to a broader group of people. So, you know, there's no doubt Jeremy's had a huge amount of success in terms of getting more people to join the party, you know, opening up a new debate about the sorts of answers we need. Actually, in terms of the policy offer that he's making, it's not wildly different from the policy manifesto that we had in relation to Ed Miliband in the last general election, with some key differences like Trident, of course, but fundamentally the basics are the same. This comes down to whether you're going to prioritise building an electoral coalition with people who have voted UKIP, with people who voted for the Tories, with people who voted for the Greens and other parties, to try and make a Labour government, which means you have to have an offer that has broad appeal across the range of people in this country, and I think Owen is the only person in this race that can deliver that.
The difference is that a year ago the Labour Party was supporting austerity light, the Labour Party was failing to oppose the welfare reform bill. We've changed that. We've chased down austerity for what it is, a political choice. We're opposed to the welfare changes that the government is imposing, which creates misery for the worst off in our society. But it's also about having a much bigger party, it's about democracy within the party, it's about involvement of communities, and our party membership has responded and gone up now to 540,000.
I think the thing is that we're now in a leadership election. I think an awful lot of us would rather we hadn't got to this point. But all of us as individual members of the Labour Party, whether we're MPs or we're not MPs, have got to make a judgment about who it is that stands the best chance of putting together the kind of strategy we need to come back and to win the next general election, because ultimately this isn't about us, MPs, or even actually party members. It's about the people of this country and what the Conservatives are doing to them. So we've all got a really big responsibility here, and I simply think that Owen is in a better position, is better qualified as a leader to achieve that than Jeremy.
I wish, part of me really wishes that I could honestly believe that he genuinely will push those policies if he wins, because if he did I'd feel a lot happier about the contest that's been called. My problem is that if you look at his voting record and his previous statements, you know, even some months ago, let alone years ago, he's previously expressed support for positions that were widely varied compared to what he's saying now. So it seems like because Jeremy's policy agenda is so popular, Owen seems to have just, I'll copy that, I'll copy this, I'll copy the other, but I don't really honestly believe that if he gained power, he would necessarily put them into practice in the same way that I do trust Jeremy to do that.
And the other big difference between us, I think, is that I genuinely don't feel that we are heading in the right direction. I don't think, you know, winning a few mayoralties and winning a few parish council elections is enough for Labour. We've got to win 116 seats back from the Tories, and at the moment we're heading in the wrong direction. We're at the lowest poll level since 1982, and that can't be right for the Labour Party. We've got to be a bit more concerned. We can't be complacent.
I just want to really listen to his vision, what he wants to put forth, you know, and so on, and hopefully to see, you know, whether he's got answers on the key issues that we face. The Labour Party is now going through a very tough time, as you know. We're going through a very terrible time, and it's just really I want to see what he says, how he answers the questions that people are asking him, whether he's honest in his answers, but more importantly whether he can deliver. I don't think he can. I think Jeremy Corbyn should stay on as leader, but we'll see how he goes.
For me, it's that integrity, whether I actually feel that I can believe that they will put those policies into effect if they win power. So I think that's really what it comes down to. It's just a trust issue, and I'm afraid Owen Smith may be a lovely guy, but I just don't trust him the way I do Jeremy.
I'm sure you'll agree with that.
I completely agree.
Thank you.